if Iran threatens us in any way, they will pay a price like few countries have ever paid.
They would not dare carry out military threats against Iran. The Americans know very well that Iran and its allies in the region would retaliate very hard and make America face dark days to come.
You just take a look at what's happening in virtually any place in the Middle East. Iran is behind it. So what kind of a deal is this, where it wasn't even discussed? We'll find out. You'll find out about that. It won't be so easy for them to restart. They're not going to be restarting anything. They restart it, they're going to have big problems, bigger than they've ever had before. And you can mark it down. They restart their nuclear program, they will have bigger problems than they have ever had before.
What will happen, do you think, if President Trump pulls the United States out of the nuclear deal?
Exiting such an agreement would carry a high cost for the United States of America, and I do not believe that Americans would be willing to pay such a high cost for something that will be useless for them. It will yield no results for the United States, but at the same time, it will generally decrease and cut away and chip away at international trust placed in the United States of America.
What would you do? What would Iran do?
We will have various options at our disposal vis-a-vis this issue if the United States pulls out of the JCPOA. And there has been quite a great deal of thought given to this possible scenario regarding our reaction. And if such a thing were to happen, quite swiftly the world will see Iran's steps and reactions. This action will take place in a matter of a few days. However, given that Mr. Trump's reactions and actions and policies are somewhat unpredictable, we have had long thought and discussions about our reactions.
The foreign ministry warned Washington not to do anything it might regret.
We have to wait for their decision. As for Iran's stance, we've made all the necessary predictions about any scenario, and all options for different situations are on the table, depending on what the United States decides to do.
We believe that if the United States were to withdraw from the nuclear deal, the immediate consequence, in all likelihood, would be that Iran would reciprocate and withdraw from the deal. What the United States, what President Trump has made the international community aware of is the fact that the United States is not a trustworthy, reliable negotiating partner, because you reach an agreement with them, and an agreement by definition would require give and take. They're prepared to take everything that you've given, but then renege on the promises that they have made in the deal. That makes the United States a rather unlikely partner in any international agreement. And unfortunately, the track record is not just limited to the nuclear deal. It includes the Paris Climate Agreement, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and a lot of other freely undertaken commitments of the United States.
But there is a chance, and nobody knows what I'm going to do on the 12th, although, Mr. President, you have a pretty good idea. But we'll see. But we'll see also if I do what some people expect, whether or not it will be possible to do a new deal with solid foundations, because this is a deal with decayed foundations. It's a bad deal. It's a bad structure. It's falling down. Should have never, ever been made. I blame Congress. I blame a lot of people for it. But it should have never been made. And we're going to see what happens on the 12th. But I will say, if Iran threatens us in any way, they will pay a price like few countries have ever paid.
Stern warning from Iran, the country's leading leader threatening, quote, severe consequences for any country that betrays the nuclear deal.
In the case of Iran's nuclear plans to build a bomb, this bomb has to be filled with enough enriched uranium. And Iran has to go through 3 stages. The first stage, they have to enrich enough low-enriched uranium. The second stage, they have to enrich enough medium-enriched uranium. And the third stage and final stage, they have to enrich enough high-enriched uranium for the first bomb. Where's Iran? Iran's completed the first stage. Took them many years, but they completed it, and they're 70% of the way there. Now they're well into the second stage. And by next spring, at most, by next summer, at current enrichment rates, they will have finished the medium enrichment and move on to the final stage. From there, it's only a few months, possibly a few weeks, before they get enough enriched uranium for the first bomb. Ladies and gentlemen, what I've told you now is not based on secret information. It's not based on military intelligence. It's based on the public reports of the International Atomic Energy Agency. So if these are the facts, and they are, where should a red line be drawn? A red line should be drawn right here. Before Iran completes the second stage of nuclear enrichment necessary to make a bomb, before Iran gets to a point where it's a few months away or a few weeks away from amassing enough enriched uranium to make a nuclear weapon.
You brought up Iraq and something you said that could affect American troops in recent days. You said we should have kept the oil, but okay, maybe we'll have another chance. What did you mean by that?
Well, we should have kept the oil when we got out.
So you believe we can go in and take the oil?
We should have taken the oil.
It is a sight that no Western broadcaster has been allowed to see until now. I traveled across hundreds of kilometers of flat, deserted marshlands to tour one of the world's largest oil fields. Unexploded bombs from the Iran-Iraq War used to litter this area. Now, beneath this former battlefield, officials say, lies some 60 billion barrels of proven reserves. Now, this is a massive operation covering some 900 kilometers, about the distance between, say, Los Angeles and San Francisco. They have more than 300 wells already, and that number will double by the year 2020.
What I just said is that Iran deal is an important issue. We'll discuss about that. But we have to take it as a part of a broader picture, which is security in the overall region. And we have the Syrian situation, we have upcoming election in Iraq, we have the stability to preserve for our allies in the region. And what we want to do is to contain the Iranian presence in the region, and JCPOA is part of this broader picture. Thank you.
It just seems that no matter where you go, especially in the Middle East, Iran is behind it. Wherever there's trouble, Yemen, Syria, no matter where you have it, Iran is behind it. And now, unfortunately, Russia is getting more and more involved. The Iran deal is a disaster. They're testing missiles, and what is that all about? You look at the ballistic missiles that they're going and testing. What kind of a deal is it where you're allowed to test missiles all over the place? But Iran seems to be behind everything where there's a problem. and you just have to take a look. You look at what's happening, you look at the fighters. Iran is always there, and we're not going to allow certain things to happen that are happening.